So I'm E. McNeil. I am an indie game developer. I made Darknet for Gear VR and coming to Rift. And right now I'm showing a new game called Tactera, which is a tabletop real-time strategy game, sort of inspired by Command & Conquer and Riddler and the old classic RTSs like that. But it's bringing it to VR by putting you in front of a holographic tabletop where you have sort of miniature holographic troops you're commanding around a battlefield. So what I'm showing right now is the version that's being shown on the Gear VR, the demo. So it has half of the units are available and only the skirmish mode. So in development right now are a campaign mode that allow players to sort of play through a world map and try to take on more and more progressively difficult battles, as well as a multiplayer head-to-head mode, which I think is going to be very exciting. The other 6 units are all finished, and I'm pretty excited about those too, because at the beginning of every match, as you would know if you've played the demo, you pick 3 units that get to be part of your army. And so expanding the total pool from 6 to 12 vastly increases the number of combinations and different strategies you can put together. So right now you can sort of go for like swarming strategies or like sort of slower and stronger troops, but there's a lot of special troops that are being introduced, like mobile artillery that'll attack from a distance, or an orbital strike that takes a really long time to charge up but pretty much wins you the game in one hit. And I think those will twist the game in interesting ways. When it comes to putting troops together, I think there's a lot of different valid strategies, but there's definitely going to be some combinations that are sort of more powerful strategies than others. And I'm not so interested in being the referee of that. I think it's really interesting as a player to try to put things together and see what works. And it's especially interesting because your strategy is going to depend a lot on what the other person picks. If your opponent has certain kinds of troops, you might do better with a different set. And so I feel like there's a lot of different combinations and a lot of different ways that the game could turn around on that. And especially with multiplayer, where you actually have 2 humans trying to play this game against each other, I think it's going to have a pretty good shelf life. So I made a really simple prototype about a year ago, where it was just like a table in front of you and you could make little tanks and bombers, and it was not a fun game. It was very bare bones, it was poorly balanced, etc. But it was a great way to explore this format. And that kind of confirmed my suspicions that the virtual tabletop format is really good for VR for all the reasons you mentioned. Like, you don't have to turn around. You get a lot of action taking place at very close range, so you get that near-field 3D effect. And there's no need for locomotion. There's no artificial rotation or movement that the game has to implement. And so you avoid nausea problems altogether.